Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the rainy Sunday live stream. This is your host, CM Kozeman speaking. I've actually come down with something virutic. So I have the backs of my eyes hurting when I move them, some painful twinges in my ear, feeling under the feather or weather, yeah. But it's been a busy few weeks and it's nice to catch up with everybody. Hello, Haj Medesh. Hello, Blake Richardson. Hello, Lux Aterna. Thank you. Birds of a feather under the weather, says Octopus with no friends. And I hope you get some friends. This is going to be a light stream, to be honest. I'm a bit tired. But as you can see, I switched out the prostitution light. The e-girl light is gone. I got a new light that's very bright and warm, and I like that. I think the e-girl light had its places, but this is classier. And to cure myself, the what, says Haj Medesh. There used to be a light that changed color from purple to green and stuff. And that's why I called it the e-girl light. Hello from England, says Kamarli. Hello, my friend. The chats are working fine. There's 16 people in the room. Somebody asked, why is the chat restricted? You just can't type every 3 seconds. You have to wait 3 seconds. So it's to stop people from flooding. Yes. So I'm going to eat this soup, which has bone broth, a lot of salt, and a blended onion, olive oil, and a leek in it, all blended up. And this is going to cure me. Literally today, it was like a slow motion day for me. I woke up late. I slept after breakfast. I slept after lunch. I was actually going to cancel the stream, but I said, let's get some momentum in this thing. So yeah. All right. 23 people watching. Shupiluma says, start already, man. Don't forget to drink pacha soup too, which is boiled gelatin from the hooves of small ruminants. Thank you, Krominami, for telling me to enjoy my meal. I had a banger couple of weeks. I was doing tours in Turkish universities, which are interesting places. First, I went to Yıldız University, courtesy of the Evolution Club, and I gave a talk about, speculative evolution art there. This was like an academic conference, like an event with pretensions of an academic conference, but it was interesting. There was a lot of people. There was one researcher who analyzed the DNA found on skeletons in archaeological sites across Turkey, and he said, for example, they went to a dig at a Persian colony. The Persian Empire had many colonies in the Anatolian mainland, and the skeletons there have like 90% Iranian DNA, which is interesting. And then there was a lady, actually a friend of mine, who gave a presentation with her friends about conservation and women in STEM. And I was also there. I talked about my creative speculative evolution work. Kamali says, would you come to my university, Angela Ruskin in Essex? I would love to. And I can, because I have a UK visa. What you need to do is you need to arrange with a club of your school to get me in there. And it would be appreciated maybe if you could let me stay in a dorm for a couple days, once when I arrive, once one more day for like um, recuperation. So yeah, that's nice. And please ask your club, like the more you can contribute the better. You can I wouldn't mind if you paid my plane fees, but I know university budgets are limited. But as long as you feed me, like buy me lunch and give me a place to stay, I'd be happy to talk. And we can actually turn that into an all tomorrow's book signing event too, because well, the publishers, Wilton Square and I are gonna do a bunch of those. So please, let's leave no stone unturned. Every university in the UK, I can travel and give a talk now because I have a visa. Ian Harris says, "How are the isopos? They're great. Actually, I'm gonna feed them as soon as I finish feeding myself. I think it's a nice and cozy part of our podcasts. So yes." Melatonin Dragon Cookie says, "How do you feel about some people saying the Kuhanim are the most evil character? This comes up in every talk. And okay, so that's a good one. Then I went to Boğaziçi University for the guest of the Evolution Club, and I gave a solo talk about my work and my art, and it was a packed room, more than 100 people in attendance. So that was great. I met a lot of interesting and really smart people. It was really fun. Afterwards, we went to a kind of tea and cake place because, well, the conversation was very nice. And yeah, I'm really happy. And then recently, I also went to the Yıldız Technical University again, this time to give an inspiration talk for game developers in a game jam they were having. If anybody is watching from any of those schools, hello and well, good evening. How is the mantis? Has she been eating you too much? No, these are actually, well, me gnawing my fingers, which is a bad habit, the only one I have. The mantis is okay. She's sitting on her plant. I keep moisturizing her. She ate like a huge slice of chicken sausage and she's now very fat. Problem is she's not laying eggs, so maybe there's something wrong with the pregnancy. And she's okay. I don't want to disturb the mantis now. I'd love to watch an All Tomorrow's movie. Well, I'd love to receive a contract for one. Like, according to some estimates, movie rights for the book can go for 6 or 7 figures in dollars, which would like change my life literally. Very like I've wow, we reached the point where I can't keep up with all the comments. Also, my brain is like getting hit hard by this virutic shit I'm dealing with. So forgive me if I miss any comments. Blake Richardson says, "You are my favorite speculative artist. You are a very intelligent man. Thank you. Thank you. I try to do my best." Arda Kılıç says, "Hi. I've collected a species of isopods from my yard with snake lizard tanks." Well, don't put them with your lizards or they'll eat them. Are there any grain months in Turkey? Well, glad you told me. I have this page, which is a list of my butterfly observations. During COVID, I had a UV prep setup in my balcony. And I identified these many genera, and the groups included the following. So which ones did you ask? Crambidae or Phyloidae? I think we did have Crambidae. But I don't remember, but the images are sick. Like, they're all taken with my small macro camera. Basically, this is how I made these images. Look, I had my trusty old Canon G16, which is really great with macro in available light, okay? And then I have a portable light, like so. And basically, this is a killer setup for photographing insects. I don't like it when they're stuck to the camera because you need one hand to maneuver the light and you need another hand to like focus. And I'll show you how strong the macro is. So I just took a picture of a key on my keyboard. Actually, no, let's take a picture of the light. Let's take a picture of a ruler so you can see the resolution. This is the resolution you get. Let me see. This is like 1 centimeter, by the way. So yeah, I did take pictures of the mantis too. Have you got any live pets, man? Well, I have mantis and isopods. That's all I have. My all tomorrow fun art. I sent you just a sample, says YouTube Joseph. Okay, you've been sending me lots of nice stuff. What are the names of your pets? Mantis and isopods. I love them. I am attached to them, but I don't like naming them. I bite my fingers too. I am in pain every time, everywhere, says Arda. Well, the trick is to get the cheap Johnson. This is one of the things which I hope never runs out. So normally, Band-Aids are made out of plastic these days, and they suck. They get piled up with sweat, and people like them because they look and feel antiseptic, but they're actually gross. So actually, there's this product in Turkey called the Johnson Cotton, and it is made out of cotton. Band-Aid. And they stick on, they're not waterproof, but they don't fall when they're wet. And they're very cheap. They're dirt cheap. Like, fancy places don't actually sell them. And they let the wounds, the scars breathe, which is great. And they stay on, they're tenacious. It's one of those like niche products that have awesome performance and very low price. And I hope they never change it. Okay. EU Plastic says, Lexus Galavan. Yes. Shupiluluma says, can't see. You can't see the Band-Aid? It looks like this. And it's called Johnson, which is this thing. Okay, let me show it to you this way. Do you like answering questions? Yes, of course. Why the hell would I do a live stream if I didn't? But today I'm going to take it easy. And I hope you all understand. 38 people watching. Let's have a roll call. Let's hear where you are all from. Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Everybody. Let's hear it out so we know which parts of the world we are reaching to. Fossilized Fool from North Carolina. Nice state. Hajmadesh from Denmark. Arda Kılıç from Turkey. The map all lighting up in my head. Shupilulima is from Istanbul's Sarıyer district. Luxaterna from Lithuania. Gnome's Child is from upstate New York. Kurominemi is from Adana, one of the based and Miami-like cities in southern Turkey. Quinping is from Argentina. Blake Richardson is from Michigan. Tomasz Strimpel is from Dallas. Yeehaw. Cambrian Aquarium from Texas, but in Mississippi. Wow, so nice. Pagan on a longship says Trace, which places him or her in Greece or Turkey. Aralowski is another based South Mediterranean Turkish friend from the city of Mersin, close to biblical Tarsus. Lucas Evangard from Brazil. Kurt Boy from Bursa, also once a capital of the Ottoman Empire. Do you mean heritage, birthplace, or nationality, or where you live? Well, I normally ask people where you live, but let's ask the heritage too. Like where did your grandparents come from? Let's do that. Mine came from all over the place. Crete, what is today Yugoslavia? Well, what is today Macedonia, Serbia. One grandparent comes from Sparta. '52 Shark lived in Nigeria and Germany and was born in Kuwait. Kuromini has ancestors in Crete and Crimea. Any Turkish people with ancestors in Crete, you need to go and see it. Kurt Boy says Persia. Na, 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 na. Lucas Evangard is from Portugal and Italy. Nice. Gnome's Child says my genetics are so messed up. Okay, nobody's forced. Luxaterna has a strong pedigree, only Lithuanian ancestors. Very nice. Joseph is from Long Island, New York. Blake has French and Scottish ancestors. Nikok from former Yugoslavia. Caleb, Anglo-Scots-Irish from Georgia, USA. Fossilized Fool also has everywhere in Europe listed in his ancestors. Hajmedej has ancestors from Ramazjang and Denmark. The names of the places just roll off the tongue. Şüphülülüma is from Eskişehir and Çankırı. Pagan on a longship, Balkans and Anatolia. Very, very common case in Turkey. The soup is bringing me back to life. Literally, today life has been on goddamn slow motion mode. But I don't know who said it. It's about old age, but it can apply to, well, not serious illnesses too. But they say these things are guests and they have to be hosted graciously. They come, they stay with you, and you have to host them. You can't fight them. Anyways, let's get rid of this Band-Aid thing so you get to see me better. Almost 20 minutes in. You need surgery and you feel terrible? God. Well, as a disclaimer, I'll say that, this is not something I may be able to help with, but whatever's wrong with you, I hope you get better soon. Blake Richardson has to go. Have a lovely Sunday, man. Godspeed. Oh, this is bone and bone broth, and the way it turns into a jelly when it cools down. Oof, so good. Caleb says, if you get a stuffed nose, I recommend jalapeno peppers and tea. That's the thing. I don't have a stuffed nose. It's, I think, hitting my brain because I can't think as fast as I used to. And my eyes hurt when I move them and when I look at a bright screen. And my ears sometimes ring. And I'm generally lethargic and I tire fast. It's just a virus shit. So no poppers. But I will, I think, have what's the name of that thing? Tylol hot later on in the stream. Yes. Okay. I think I had that a few weeks ago. Maybe it's the latest COVID. When I was hanging out with these people from Boğaziçi University, we had a drink and draw kind of thing after the talk. And I made a huge sketch, which is this. Concerning the illness, Kurominami says, the only thing that cured me was sleeping. Yes, I slept like a stone. And I will too. Like, this stream will probably not run much or more over an hour, but I hope you understand. So I want you to look at all the nice drawings I made with all these people from Boğaziçi University. And I'll be right back. I'll get some more soup. And yeah, I'll be right back with you. And if you got any questions about art, science, life, etc., line it up. This is your chance to share or partake in my wisdom. Yes. Yes. Sorry. All right. Let's see what everybody said. They look so cool. If it wasn't for the internet, I would never occur to me that it's not the same time in LA and Istanbul. Well, Gnome's Child says, me and the boys concerning the page. It's a sketch he made on tour, says Caleb. Thank you. What is a tip for starting drawing? I draw a little, mainly animals, but I can't seem to get the shapes right. The trick is just, I happen to have a nice picture of a newt here. Wait. The trick is to just keep drawing. So I'm gonna share a image of a cool newt. Look at it. It looks like a theropod dinosaur, huh? And I'm also going to tilt the camera down to a piece of paper, and I'll try to sketch it out for you. Bleaton Bleat says, yo, hello, my old friend, and generous commissioner too. So with this guy, you just have to I'm using this is a pen that just gushes ink the moment you touch it. So it's very unforgiving. But this helps you to quickly identify and act on things about an image which make up its core characteristics. So with the digits, and you notice I'm not drawing it as a copy. I'm just looking at the things and placing them placing them in roughly the approximate places. So my tip to draw better is just to look at pictures of things you like and try to draw them. You got a computer in front of you. It's an incredible resource. Yes. So you didn't sketch it? No. I mean, look, maybe other people aren't like this, but when you know something, you don't need to sketch. You can just do it. It's like knowing how to whistle. I mean, you just freaking do it. And it's not an exact copy or even a great copy, but just lay it out there. Can you switch cam places so we can see? I'll try to do that. I actually had a camera rig that would shoot down, but it doesn't work as well anymore. Anyways, I'll consider it. So this was the drawing. "52 Sharks, do you think we'll ever become a type 1 civilization and beyond?" Referring to the Kardashev scale. Unfortunately, I don't think the Kardashev scale applies to reality. I mean, they look at things and imagine one day that people will be able to manipulate those energies. But human beings live on a planet. And I mean, things like, things like building a shell around the sun and stuff, you can't do that without destroying the planet you were born in. You can't, I don't think you can even manipulate matter, because any action needs a lure, okay? Imagine this is the sun, okay? Which is the biggest object in the solar system. How are you going to manipulate it or build something around it? I rest my arms on the table, So in order to manipulate these things, you need to build a thing which is already bigger than them, and you can't do that. So it's like a very easy, I think, child level logical fallacy. It's exactly the kind of blind spot an engineer would have, especially a Soviet engineer would have. Remember, Kardashev was a Soviet engineer, and they were all about building dams and like changing the environment for agriculture. You see how well that turned out. I mean, they were a blight upon Asia. So, so yeah. Just keep yelling at the sun until it complies. Exactly. I think genuinely there are some tech bro types who unironically believe in something like that, like visualizing positive reinforcement and stuff like that. I mean, you can build big things in space, but you can't manipulate the resources of an entire galaxy or a solar system. Flow Zone says there were a lot of mega projects. The Australians also wanted to flood their desert. There was also a big one called Atlantropa. It was, I think, a fancy German idea about putting a dam across the Straits of Gibraltar and lowering the Mediterranean so people could find Lebensraum. So this is the Atlantropa project. Oops. Can you see it, first of all? Slightly harmful says, what happened to your fingers? It's a bad habit, I know at them. Okay, so this German dude in 1920 was going to build a dam here and build a road all the way to Dakar. Oops. There's going to be another dam near Sicily, the Strait of Messina, and there's going to be a second level of the Mediterranean here. The funniest thing was he planned to have a holding dam at Venice. So there would be a dam holding the water in near Venice, like a pond, so people could enjoy the canals. This is like, dare I say, this is a very German idea, like Ordnung muss sein and all that. And anyways, they're going to destroy like the seashores in Rome, Naples. Imagine if there's a terrorist organization in this world, anti-Nazi resistance or something, and all they have to do is to nuke this dam and phew. Also the audacity. I mean, how long would these dams last? Eurafrica, says Caleb. Lexus Galavan says the Mediterranean always reminds me of the future is wild, future salt plains. I love that. So, oops. Joseph says you shouldn't drain the Mediterranean, but perhaps in Australia it could work. I mean, it could work. Even something like this could work. It's just that we have a different perspective today. But maybe our perspective is pusillanimous. But also, I think this idea is just very brash, and it doesn't take into account a lot of problems. See, so they'd be able to get on a train from Berlin, go to Rome, Naples, Tunis, and all the way to Cape Town. This is some like Draka level shit, which is an interesting idea, to say the least. Salih Tamer says, hello, Kösemen and the dear fellows. So the project is to create the saltiest sea possible, probably. Imagine all the muck and swamps and like the rotting vegetation. It would be a hazard, health hazard. Every country would consent, or I don't think they cared at all. Because I think in this time of world history, the Germans weren't in the mood for caring. 52 Shark says Kuwait, Dubai, and Saudi always have these futuristic super projects. When I was young, the Kuwait news said that the mega city will be ready, Al Marir would be ready in 2023. Now they say 2039. I think, look, it's just to save face, those things. I don't think none of them are going to be built. Or if they are built, they're going to be built in micro scale. So I don't think it holds water. Pardon to pun. What about building a bridge instead of a dam? That's doable, but I don't think Europeans want it. I don't think the British want it either. And also, Gibraltar is a very rocky, like it's three-dimensionally, there's a lot going on in there. So there's going to be a bit of an engineering challenge. Fez says, as an artist, have you ever struggled with perfectionism in your art? No, never. I struggled with consistency. I always wanted, like, if I'm doing a series, I wanted all the paintings in that series to be in a similar way, you know? So that I struggled with. Okay, soup time. Oh. Lots of hearts coming in. What is that plant behind you? Oh, this is a huge cactus. I don't think you can see it now. I harvested in 2010, so 15 years ago, and it's still growing. And I just recently moved it here from my parents' house, where it was until last week. Very nice, 15 years. Yeah, plants can live for decades, even simple plants. As a Sicilian, I can totally see the appeal of driving several hours to go to Tunisia, says Hadmedesh. Yes. Cosmos Hussein says, we love your podcast with Mert Günhan, the other Turkish YouTube creator. Would there be a dispute over Africa and EU over who owns it? Look, this project was made in 1920. I think it was their plan to eliminate everybody in Africa when they were building it. It was Lebensraum for Europeans only, for Germans only, in fact. I don't think the designer was like a born and bred Nazi. But I mean, in this, like, before the Second World War, almost everybody taught in terms of race, and almost everybody taught in terms of racial supremacy. Americans did this too, so did the British. Not every country was acting on it, but yeah. So this guy, I don't think it was a Nazi, but he was just like a wet behind the eyes engineer. He also did build like power plants and actual dams, so he knew what he was doing. There's a lot of interesting guys in Europe like this. I mean, European mid-century people. I mean, would the coup build the dam? Says probably not. Building a bridge between Gibraltar and Morocco is almost impossible due to the depth and the speed of the. Yes, exactly. We can't build supporting legs with the current technology, says Shupiluma. Very true. Also, if they built this dam and these bridges, I think it would be to invade too, like zoom, 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 going down. I think mega structures are very interesting to imagine. I agree. I agree. Like these mental exercises are great. But yeah, speaking of Europe and stuff, I feel with some knowledge of global affairs that There's going to be a big war in Europe. But what do you think? Do you feel that in the air? I mean, here's what convinced me. These all happened recently, okay? Just a second. Please also, like, as I show you these news, tell me how accurate they are, okay? Yeah, we're gonna take back Skane. Oh God, not again. Oops, sorry. Okay, so let's look at the clouds of war looming over Europe, all right? First, let's look at France. Okay. Okay, bear with me, thank you. So first we have this guy, this general in France, saying that you should be prepared to lose children in face of the Russian threat. How to handle the Ukraine conflict. So yeah, this was one dark news. Then Germany's defense minister said that this may be the last peaceful, final quiet summer in Europe. So I wouldn't want to be in Germany now. And then recently they introduced a conscription bill. Oops. Okay, wait. Can you see now? Okay, you can see it. So I think Germany, at least some parties in Germany, really want to push this war to its chilling conclusion, because it seems that Ukraine can't defeat Russia by itself. So this was dangerous. And then, would you escape the draft? Says slightly. I would, because I've got very elastic limbs. And I actually was exempted from military service in Turkey. Also, I have scoliosis, which bends my neck a bit like this. And I have fallen arches. So recently there was 50 people watching, by the way. This is a great turnout. Thank you all. There was a conscription bill, which apparently Germany has national service, but you can do it basically just by working in the government. But I think there's a bill being introduced now which says you have to, like, pick up a rifle and drill, basically. At least a certain part of the population has to do it. These countries also have problems with thousands of unassimilated, angry young men from migrant backgrounds, and also thousands of local angry young men, which is, I think, a convenient flesh sink for them. Okay, so Flowzone, I think, is from Germany, saying that Merz is acting without a plan. He just wants to please all sides and surrounds himself with yes men. Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's quite a situation to prevent conscription. Carry on, says Lexus Galavan. They're going to kick slightly harmful's ass when they find out he missed the military service. Jerry Caleb says, we still have the A bomb, but so do they. Oh, God. So I think there's this bizarre understanding between all sides that their economies are not going to recover and their social problems are not going to end without something like a big meat grinder event. So I think at least some parties in Europe and in America are pushing for this, because also the global economy is at like a loggerheads, and there's nothing like a good war to kickstart the economy again. A lot of young people are very happy about the conscription bill. At the same time, a new reform for the retirement system was introduced. We should send our gold reserves to the moon. Smart. Do you have a Discord server, says Slightly Harmful? No, because I got all my other stuff to take care of. I don't have the time to focus on Discord. In fact, this stream is a few weeks late because the other 2 weeks I was giving real talks to real people. Can we just release ICE 9 already? What is ICE 9? Slightly Harmful says, halt! Okay. ICE 9 is a polymorph of ice. Oh, it's in a Kurt Vonnegut novel. Interesting. I never read that book. Ali Gündüz says, I think the next year's Austria will once again join Germany in some way. They are already joined. It's called the EU. I am enjoying the stream, says Slightly Harmful. Well, so am I. I'm going to finish my bone broth. Baristi says, what do you think will help Germany? Depopulation by war or circulation of money? Circulation of money first. After the war, they will have economic impetus to rebuild all the parts they destroyed in, well, Poland and like what's east of Poland. Also, in a way, it's going to put some elbow grease into all these young people so they don't rebel or start killing each other over ethnic or religious differences. In Europe, there's a lot of angry Muslim men now, and there's no better way to fire them into an alloy than to have them fight in a big war with Russia. And then there would be a great narrative saying, the Muslims are our brothers, Muslim, Christian, we are all German, we all fought in the big war, we all fought in World War III. Same, I think some like brainy people in the UK are thinking the same way too. I mean, people from Mer's party literally said, after the war, we could just return to status quo with Russia. They're literally living in the 90s. Yes, this is a horrible problem. Although I think Mer's is not a boomer. The people in power are permanently stuck in 2004, the latest. They're stuck in the 90s. They think it's all like the boomer generation has like 70% of all resources, not all money, not all houses, all resources. They have it. They live in a dreamland where nothing happens. World War III would be fought in the Eastern Front, says Trupiluluma in Taiwan. True, I think that's going to take place too. Delusional leaders. Well, look, if the big one starts, at least you'll know we had a nice old time at CM Kozuman's live streams. We'll die fighting shoulder to shoulder. But it's also awful. I have Russian friends. I have books sent to me by Russian paleontologist friends. Like these are human beings too. Like from their perspective, will Turkey take part in World War III or just be dragged into it? Looks like Turkey's leader are aligning us very hard with American and the Western alliance. And I mean, Turkey has similar problems. Record inflation, lots of unemployed Dizzo and, well, Kekomen. What better way? Just send them to the front. Freeze a million, you know? Freeze a million and 500. This actually happened in World War II. The disgraced Turanist leader, Enver Pasha, I think like 600,000 soldiers, he sent them on a botched campaign and they all froze to death. Now, looking back, I think, was that a mistake? If I was a Turkish general staff now, I would love to, like, in a sadistic way, it makes sense. There's all these like young delinquents in society. Get them riled up, give them a rifle, I don't know, send 2 million to Kafkasya, where I think in Georgia there's going to be another battlefront. Destroy them. It was 90,000 dead in Sarıkamış. Now it's going to be in millions. Like, I'm not saying they're thinking about this, but I'm sure this has crossed some minds. Are you for real, says Lucas. No, I'm not I'm speaking from their voice. But this is a problem with many countries. In the US too. You got all these lone wolf attacks, the school shootings, very intense violence against rich people too, and they're scared. I mean, they really are, I think, old people who think, okay, let's have a war so these young people don't launch a revolution. Lexus Galavan says Dune. Yes, true, very. Well, as Eric Hobsbawm said, the magical way art predicts the future will never be properly understood. With especially Dune, the second part, it was unreal. Because in the movie, you were cheering Paul and Chani shooting up the spice tankers of the Harkonians. In the same time, there was the Houthi attacks on global oil shipping in the Hormuz Strait. One are heroes. If it's real, they're terrorists. There's a very weird and dark way popular culture and fiction echoes with reality. Same thing with Star Wars. Yes, Star Wars basically called out the neocon takeover of America. Oh my God, look, it's not as bad as it looks. I just bite them. They're just a few scabs. Come on. This is my clean hand. Berat Guitar says, it's been a great month for you, isn't it? Well, yes. As long as my work is concerned, it's been great. Didn't the first movie come out right around the time? It came out in 1999, 2 years before September 11. We're so close to All Tomorrow's coming to the US, says Bakara. True. In December 16th, just in 9 days, it's going to be launched in the US and you'll be able to buy it from Amazon. And I'm going to do a social media blitz about it. Oh, yeah, it was the first Dune movie that came out when Yeah, Afghanistan fell back to the Taliban. How would the asteromorphs handle the current situation? Okay, I think I know the answer. There would be a few meteors dropped on all cities with population over 20 million. Then there will be a global radio broadcast. Every city larger than 20 million would be gone. And then what was the name? The terrestrials would descend. The asteromorphs, they have big calculations. They don't like numbers. Have you watched District 9? The director is making a remake of Starship Troopers. I loved it. Blomkamp is a great director. I also love Elysium was a great movie, a great commentary about social inequality. So his movies are great. Also, Verhoeven's Starship Troopers is great too. And there's a lot of fuckheads on YouTube saying, "Oh, these are the same people who make Avatar General Quaritch memes, saying a service guarantees citizenship." But it's like the most effective critique of fascism there is. Will you be seeing the new Avatar? Definitely. Ali Gündüz says, after what you said about fire in the sky in the podcast with Mert Günhan, another Turkish YouTuber, I watched it during a slow day at the office. Man, I would still shit my pants if I see that movie, even in a workplace. How strong are the Kohanim? I don't really know. It's just an allegory. I don't really know, guys. I mean, I can't answer very deep lore questions. But people did ask about the All Tomorrow's Redux. I'm working on that too. I'm working on a few other things too, but I just can't reveal them. Okay. Mm. I'm gonna have lamp sip or Tylol hot too after this. I need it. Then I'm gonna sleep for a long, long night. Jerry Caleb says, seeing you talk in Turkish is curiously surreal. Oh yeah, it's not just an accent. Bakara says, Sarduka ritual in Dune was so nice. Oh, I love that. Bam bulim bam bim bam bim bam bili bam bim bala bim bam bim. That was a nice one. Actually, that's the godlike talent that Denis Villeneuve has. The Sardukar chant scene, the arena scene in the other Dune, like he has these like scenes where it's all the intensity of the movie is focused on this like completely alien world. In Turkish, I don't know, I have a more stentorian tone, I think. Okay, I'm gonna put this back. Get my Tylo hot. In the meantime, dreams are calls from the deep, true. In the meantime, I'm gonna give you an exclusive sneak peek to the Isopod City, which we're gonna feed now. Here they are with oak leaves, some of their favorites. This is the population control officer. Oops, he fell down. It's one of those little bugs with sucking mouth parts, and he takes his toll, but he's okay. So yeah, this is Isopod City. You keep an eye on them so they don't run off, okay? I'll be right back. All right. Oh, Allah şükür. It's good to be back. Crunch, crunch. Tarushkina says from Kayseri with love. They're getting away. I think the only escapee we have at the moment is this snail. This guy, which is part of the cleanup crew. Huh? Let's get a little water on these guys. Okay. Wait, where's the water corner? So look, when you're keeping isopods, you have to give water only to one corner. So there's a gradient, okay? That's very important. What isopods do you have, says slightly harmful. These guys, I think they're a mix of the yellow splotched ones and the dark, really pill-shaped ones. They're building. I love building them these cities. They love these like egg carton corners. They always sleep in them, which is great. So you see, we gave them leaves. I gave them leaves, and they're reducing them like literally in 2 days. Actual huge leaves, like poof, gone. Insane. Mixed population, or can they breed? I don't think they can crossbreed. They're a mixed population. NS says these isopods are very cute and social creatures. I agree. So we have for them today two entrees. One is oak leaves, and the other we have crushed eggshells, which they need for calcium. Leaves are a delicacy. Little cookie cutters. Yes, yes, yes. So this is Isopod City 1. This is a smaller colony. And this is far more crowded. You can see a lot more guys in here. But that's okay. And this is very therapeutic. So oak leaves are great. They love them. So I just snip them in there. They also love these oak galls, which are these like little button type things. There's these like little green UFO pieces of shit that um, that grow on oak trees, and they love to eat them too. Oh. Leaves hit the spot for dinner. Haj Medesh says, we're so cooked, drawing tips, isopods. True. Green UFO pieces of shit. True, true, true. Oh, this is very satisfying to do. End of a busy day. It just feels good knowing you're providing sustenance for these little creatures, which don't ask much, really. Don't ask for much, really. ASMR, says Jerry Salek. True. Now, if I have a stream in 5 days, we'll check them out, and you will see that they've eaten everything. At night, actually, I can hear the crunching, which is so satisfying. E-girl isopod. Well, probably not. I'm sure somebody has drawn one, though. Also, we have dried, like semi-dried lettuce, mushy lettuce. Oh, and the rest of the UFO pieces of shit, the galls, just go right in. Now we have to give them a little shake, so they settle. Also, now it's time for calcium. So we got the crushed eggshells here. Make it snow. They really eat these too. It's like these animals are just the best. Okay, all done. Can you give them KFC? Cauliflower says, Bon appetit. Are they crunchy? I've never eaten those. They're isopods, but I would never kill them or eat them. Or even feed them to something else. They're just so like you can see the big ones stick next to their parents, and the small ones stick next to their parents, and they're social. They get together and bump their antenna. They got like spirits and souls of their own. I think all animals do, all creatures do. Can you give them KFC? Actually, if I gave them KFC skin, they would love it. But it has to be in very small bits. If it's a big lump of chicken, it would probably like start rotting before they could finish it all. Fortunately, KFC is back in Turkey after quitting the Turkish market. In Danish, they're called bench biters. Is it because they eat the wood in wooden benches? Welcome back, KFC. Oh, I had a nice, I had a nice time with you. Are they fully terrestrial? Yes, but I have to keep it moist, like so, but not too much. And you need to have ventilation too. So there needs to be lots of holes in the cover. And every day I open the covers and fan them a little, so they get some circulation too. Especially this one, because this is like mega Tokyo in this one. They actually love cookie crumbs and breadcrumbs. Interestingly, an extension of the leaf environment would be a vernal pool. Do they fight among themselves? Not that I've seen, but there's one little assassin bug in this one to kind of hunt them a little so their populations don't explode. They live in paradise, says. Slightly off harmful, says. Would you get them in a glass terrarium with live plants and wood and moisturizer? Well, I've thought about that, but I don't have a room in the house for like a big terrarium. If you give them KFC, one of them will mutate and grow large from its biker gang and destroy Mega Tokyo. That's a amazing Akira reference from Bakara. And that assassin bug would be called Canada. A paradise with an assassin in it. Ah. Did you start these families with a couple of bugs you found outside? Yes, I found them in cemeteries across Istanbul. All tomorrows? No, this is all terrariums. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm having my meds now, but I think I'm also going to have some chocolate chip cookies. How about that? So you look at these guys. And be right back. Still better than an Amazon warehouse. Life is hard everywhere. I think the assassin bug. I had a few mass deaths because of overcrowding. So I need to prevent them. I need like some lone predators in this place. So they are a necessary evil. Ooh, look at this big one go. Eat the soft ones, they're better than the hard ones. I think they do actually. Look how they did with this other green leaf I gave them. Like all the edges gone. And there's this fun thing they do to linden leaves, ıhlamur in Turkish. The leaves or the seeds from the linden tree, they avoid the veins but love the paneling. So it's turned into like a complete skeleton. What were those speculative creatures you showed on paper, says YouTube Joseph? They're just random creatures. They don't have a plot. Just random things I drew for fun. Mm. Sleep is having its way with me. Look, I'm gonna have some cookies with you, finish this drink, then call it a night, okay? Also, I promoted this on Instagram for the first time, so if anybody came in from Instagram, please let me know. Do you have fava beans in Turkey? I think we do, but I'm not a big fan. Not much of a bean loving person, to be honest. I love beans when they come together with rice and meat. Now that's a combination I like, and it makes me fart. Boo! Such a good feeling. I love this kind of fresh fart where it comes in a wide caliber that's cool and not the toxic mustard gas fart that's like you can see it a little painfully, you can feel it. Okay, but yeah, why am I talking about farts? Look at the isopods. I'll be back. Watch them out for me, okay? Working full time as a bug watcher. All right. Let's put them back. Say goodbye. Oh, oh. Bye, bugs. The dome goes back over the city. Advice for kicking off an existential crisis, says Botfly. I had a really tough one when I was 22, 23. I had hypochondria all the time. I was doing my master's in the UK and hanging out with John Conway, my good friend, who I later wrote All Yesterdays with. And one night I said, I just can't take it. I'm freaking out. And like, I had nothing lacking. Like, every week I had a different girlfriend. Maybe that was the problem. But John Conway told me, "You're already dead, man. Why worry?" That did the trick, not in a depressive way, but the thing that gives us fear and anxiety is the fear of termination. There's no escaping that. Rich, poor, sick, healthy. I mean, it's going to happen to everyone. You just have to know that, internalize that, and then it's going to be easier. Like, I'm not saying this as a dark thing, by the way. I'm not saying, oh, we're all dead, let's be a nihilist. It's very close to the message I preached in All Tomorrows. Take things as they come. Usually the things you're afraid of are never the things which end up hurting you. And as soon as John Conway told me that, poof, it was gone. Ahmet Tanrıverdi says, speak in Turkish too, King. Well, for that, you have to listen. I have this hub and spoke model now. This channel will always be an international channel. But then these are also playlists on my YouTube page, by the way. Then with Mert Günhan, I have a Turkish language podcast on conspiracy theories where I'm the skeptic. Then with Akın he has a channel called Cep Hikayeleri. We have these tours of Istanbul where I talk about history and eccentric details. And then recently with Kur'an Esliter, it's this channel on YouTube. Right, I'm going to share it. This channel, he's writing about literature, science fiction and horror literature in Turkey, and talking to Turkish authors. And we had an interview, so we plan to have more stuff. And he also did a video on YouTube on All Tomorrows. So, like, if you're Turkish, go subscribe to this channel. Kuranes. It's named after a character in Lovecraft's mythos, not named after the Quran. So there. Long live the Anglo streams. Yes, yes, yes. I'm a proud internationalist when it comes to communication. I know I'll never be an American, but I can be a very weird and sexy outsider. The elder sign. Oh yeah, that's the Quranist reference. Also, look, doing stuff in Turkish is inherently risky. The government is very touchy. Like just 2 months ago, they jailed a couple of streamers because they thought they said something blasphemous, but they didn't. But doesn't matter. The charges stick. Also, it's very difficult to have a conversation in Turkish without getting political, and I don't want that. I got enough on my hands already. Mm. The soup really helped. Oh, as soon as I finish the cookies and this, I'm going to call it a night. It's going to be interesting seeing how related Kanhulu and Nanotyrannus are on the family tree. Oh, great. They recently established that Nanotyrannus was its own species, which I kind of always suspected. Because with the rates of fossilization, how likely. Also, in present day ecosystems, there's lions and leopards and cheetahs and yeah. YouTube Joseph mentions the quote by Einstein saying, I don't know how World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. I think they're updating them that I think they know that nuclear weapons are deadly and terminal. So they're just going to have a war without using them. Bish bash bosh. Fucking game over. And they can do this because World War II, they had stockpiles of mustard gas, but they didn't use them. Even though World War II was way more ferocious than World War I. So I think really we're coming back to the age of big land wars without nukes being used because everybody loses. I hope it's fought on computers and robots or in space, says Joseph. True. I mean, cyber warfare is probably going on as we speak. Information warfare. Even the money they hand out to traitors, Tim Pool and Lawrence Southern to talk shit about their own country, that's a sort of weapon. Do you like I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream? I haven't read it, strange enough. I must, but one of these days. Mm. It's a great book and apparently a very short and nice one, I've heard. Apparently only 13 pages. Flowzone says, your comments about nuclear war not happening are similar to Dune, where sword fights take place next to dunes. True, very true. Baby Botfly says, you're not a fan of Blood Meridian, are you? I don't dislike it, but I think Cormac McCarthy always pushes the darkness angle too hard. And they call him the greatest American writer. I think there's way more humane authors in the United States. All right, I hope you had a good time, everybody. I still have some more to go, but I'm on like the declension mode now. I'm happy that if there's a nuclear war, why my country won't get hit. True. I don't think any of the plans about nuclear war were realistic. Also, you had like explosions comparable to nuclear explosions. Like you had the big explosion in the port of Beirut, where the city, almost half of the city was wiped out. And that was just accumulated fertilizer. I think we'll realize what that was 30, 40 years ago. We'll give as good as we get. Bang, says Jerry Caleb. I like that attitude. 1984, says Lexus Galavan. Look, I don't know if it's like, I don't want to be like a warmonger or like a doom merchant, but nowhere before, I'm 40 years old. I've seen economic crises in the world and in Turkey. This deadlock is different. I don't know how they're going to claw their way out of this. Like either they're going to introduce some sort of a basic universal income, which I think is the best way to go, or something big like a war, or I don't know. It could be that they could just bring back conscription and military service, and the world could be locked in a new Cold War without anything actually happening, which is how they basically kept the world running after World War II. Hello, Mehmet, says Bruno Ko. Your work in sabbatism is very interesting. I read your book. Well, I'm glad you liked it. It's one of these projects where I did actual, real, first-hand research and published actual documents. I'm really proud of those books. Do you think Turkey would get hit if a nuclear war happens? I think the airbase, American airbase in Incirlik is a target. I think the Bosphorus Straits could be hit if Russia wants to disrupt Allied shipping. But also Russia needs that strait too, so maybe no. Have you heard of the book, The Yi River on the Book of Changes by Chang Yi? No. Do you think anything south of the equator would get hit with a nuke? That's a nice question. Probably not. Unless it's a carrier group somewhere. I don't know. Mm. Anyways, I call this the cozy Sunday stream. It turned into a global war stream, but somebody asked me, what are ways for a young artist to make money with their art? You should join the closest artist community to your thing. Like there's paleo artists or cartoon art or I don't know, characters and stuff. Join one of those communities on Discord or Reddit or whatever and start doing commissions. Buket says, are you eating biscrem? Bon appetit. I'm eating Nero, which until recently used to be called Negro, which is a horrible name. But it was a spin on the Italian Negro because it's got dark chocolate in it. The way things are going, we'll have flat earthers in the Oval Office soon. Man, American politics really, Turkey, they're turning into Turkey 2.0. You got an autocrat who's got a bone to pick with the media, the establishment, co-opting all and any shady figures if they help him. They're almost beat by beat similar. Problem is Trump is less smart than Turkey's president. And if I was an American, my blood would be boiling. I'm not a vote for Hillary kind of person, but the way they're disgracing like the renovation of the Oval Office and everything, it's just gross and it's hostile. It's there's a saying, sufficiently advanced evil is indistinguishable from, well, sorry, sufficiently advanced ignorance is indistinguishable from evil. This deadbeat asshole Hegseth, I think, is the worst offender. The way he said, okay, kill them all, double tap them, whatever, when they're attacking this narco boat. It's just so petty and evil. Even if you want to do that, why are you in the loop? Delegate it to a shady underling. He's like a really nasty piece of work, that guy. Miel Karna says, how interested are you in archaeology and paleontology? Do you have any fossils? I'm reasonably interested in paleontology, and I don't have any real fossils at home, but I study them. Like when I'm drawing dinosaurs, I study skeletons and draw over the skeletons. So, yeah. Also, archaeology I use as an inspiration for my surreal art. In just a second. I mean, I have surreal art like this. And these are simple paintings. I hope you can see them, by the way. These are simple paintings, but the overall vibe is influenced by a lot by archaeology. I like these things. Actually, if you're curious about my inspirations, you can go to my Pinterest, which is here. So I have distinct boards for kaiju toys and cartoons, stamps, fossils, monsters and outdated nature art, mysticism, archaeology, and I constantly update this. I hope you can see it. Cambrian Aquarium says, I'm so embarrassed to be an American. No, be proud so that there's something to stand up against these assholes. Don't be like that. Blank screen. There we go. Okay, so this is my archaeology pin board in Pinterest. And this is my general Pinterest page. I got stuff on surrealism, animals in art, interesting locations, interiors, organisms, military stuff and aviation, cars, trains, boats. So, yeah. Bıyıklı Tavşan says, Hi, Mr. Kosaman. Go join it then if it looks interesting. Are you a fan of the Ultraman franchise? I've never watched it, but I know the creatures in it. That's why there's a bunch of Ultraman creatures here in the Kaiju mood board. And this is just incredible what the Japanese do with these suits. All right, guys, it's been an hour and a half. I'm a bit tired. The sickness having its way with me. 65 people watching. We're gonna end at the peak time. I'd love to go fossil hunting with you if we meet again, says Cauliflower. Well, where could we go? I don't know any fossiliferous sites, but if you do, let me know. What is the name of your Pinterest account? It's CM Kozaman. Same as everywhere. Good night, everybody. This has been a great night. Thanks for keeping me company during my illness. And if you're in the replay gang, please let me know that you're watching this on the replay. Good night. And I love you all. Bye.